Hello, I'm Richard, EV4U Custom Conversions, and in this video we're inside the cargo trailer conversion, and we're going to be focusing on a product that we're using in this conversion, and that's one of the things that we'll do over time. Now, none of these products are sponsored. I purchased everything with my own money. And so these are just I don't know if I call it a review or not, but I guess it is a review. It's just going to be an observation of these products in the real world. You know, see how they perform in this application, because everything was, you know, either purchased or already had, and I kind of outfitted things to work with those items, which you'll see when it comes to the electrical system, the battery systems. But this was something that we purchased. I've seen it on other YouTube videos, people doing reviews and so forth. So based on its capabilities, advertised capabilities, and the space that we have, I thought it was a good fit for our application. So this is the EcoFlow Wave 2, as I mentioned. It provides both heating and air conditioning. And so in today's video, we're going to, as you can tell, I'm all bundled up. We're going to be highlighting the heating aspect. Later in the year, this is early March, later in the year, we will show you the air conditioning aspect, and that'll be easier to do. We don't get a lot of real cold days here. This is probably one of the coldest ones we've had in a while. We've actually had snow predicted. The storm seemed to kind of miss us. We didn't get any snow the last 2 days that it was predicted. Slight chance again tomorrow morning. So the overnight low was 31 degrees. I know most places in the country and around the world that's toasty this time of year, but for us that's cold. And so we're also inside a warehouse. Now it's not heated, so you know it's not warm in here, but it's also not as cold as the outside ambient air. So getting started, I checked the temperature both on my vehicle, which is parked in here, and on a thermometer that's on the wall in the shop warehouse. It says 44 degrees. Well, the temperature in the warehouse is 44 degrees. My car, the gauge in the car says it's 44. This one on the bathroom wall back here shows it's 44 also. So that's the outside ambient air that we're dealing with. And that's actually colder than it is outside. Outside the warehouse, it's actually warmer right now. I think when I pulled up outside, it was 47 degrees or something. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to see how long this takes to bring this up to a comfortable temperature inside the trailer, and we're going to time that, and we're going to, you know, look at the temperature. Now, as a baseline, I'm going to show you several different ones. I told you what the temperature is outside. I'll show you a glimpse of the thermometer. But let's take a look at one that I have inside the trailer, and I've moved it behind where you are now, the camera, to the furthest point in the V of the trailer in the bathroom, so I'm as far away from the heater as possible. Normally I have the little weather station thing sitting right here on the counter next to the microwave oven, but for this we got it at the other side, so it has to heat up the entire area for it to really register. I thought that was a little better test. So I'm going to show you what those readings are because they don't agree with the car and the one on the wall. So let's take a look at that. So here's the countertop in the bathroom with the little weather station setup sitting there. Let me zoom in on that. And you can see that, like I said, early March when we're filming this. It's just about noontime. And it's currently showing that it's 48.5 degrees outside. Well, that sending unit is on the outside of the trailer. So that's the skin of the trailer that's probably picking up some of that temperature. But anyway, basically a 4.5 degree variance from what we're showing elsewhere in the warehouse. And then it's showing the inside temperature to be about a degree lower. So, you know, this has been closed up, it gets cold in here and it just stays cold in here. So that's what we're starting with. We got 64% humidity, and so we've got you know, our timestamp and our temperature stamps for the get-go. So let me turn on the EcoFlow Wave 2. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open these little compartment doors in the back of the trailer. These are the exhaust and intake for the EcoFlow Wave 2. So I'll unlock those, and that's first thing. Okay, I didn't film me unlocking them because I'm not used to this trailer yet, and there's quite a few keys. I had to figure out which key opened these. Anyway, the bottom one is the intake air, and the upper one is the exhaust. And so that's the vent setup for the EcoFlow Wave 2. Exhaust on the bottom, intake on the bottom, exhaust on top. That way, if this top flapper ever to come loose, I got a magnet, but we could tape it if you're high winds or something. But if it did come loose, it's still not going to cause a problem because it's the exhaust, and it would be able to blow that cover out and not affect the exhausting. I already tested it. Believe me, it works fine. But we wouldn't want to block the intake. So gravity's going to hold that down. No worries there. So I'm going to use the app on my phone. I don't know how well that shows up, but I'm going to turn it on. And so now it's turned on. Let's see if I can zoom in on it a little bit better. Right now it's just on fan. Wrong direction. I think it's on fan. That blue light, is that the fan? Or what? Yep, that's the fan. So I'm going to press the heat, change the mode, yep, and it's set on 86 degrees, which is the max. We'll just leave it there, let her crank, and we'll see how long it takes. 159. So it's saying the ambient air is 48.5. Okay, 48.6. So that's what it's showing on the unit itself. And we'll back off. This shows up in the camera better. Okay, so there you have it. So that's the unit doing its trick. It's saying that the air outlet temperature 50.8 degrees, and that of course is going to keep warming up and warming up as this thing gets cranking. So I'll come back with some updates. And one is, when it gets to 65 degrees, that's the minimum temperature for me. And then we'll take it up to 68 or 70 and see how long it takes for those thresholds. Okay, while we're waiting for the interior of the trailer to heat up, let's take a look at where we are about 10 minutes in. We're sitting at about 40, well, we're about the same temperature inside and out on the weather station in there. It shows that on the EcoFlo Wave 2, and I'm getting lots of glare there, the outlet, the air outlet temperature is 95.2 degrees, and I've got it on max now that I didn't originally. It says the ambient air temperature according to this is 56, 57 degrees. So warmer out here than it is back in the bathroom according to this. So we're going to let it run, but in the meantime I thought I'd give you some specs. So this thing has different inputs that it'll run on. Right now I'm running it on AC. I've got the shore power plugged in, but it runs on 100 to 240 volt, 50 to 60 hertz AC, 520 watt max. So it's not a lot of draw, for this type of thing, heating and air conditioning. There's a car charger input, and it's 96 watts at 12 volts, 192 watts, 24 volts, 8 amps max. So I'm not going to charge real fast. The weight of this thing is 32 pounds. That's without the battery. The extra, or the battery, it doesn't come with the battery. The optional battery that I have, it weighs, I saw it earlier, I want to say it's oh gee, when you want to try to find something you can't see it. Oh, there it is, 17.2 pounds. So the the battery's a third of my total weight. But anyway, I wanted that battery, wanted to be able to run on its own. It's kind of its own separate unit. The noise level, 44 to 56 decibels, and it's 4 feet from me, and it's not that loud. It's not bad at all. The add-on battery power says solar input 11 to 60 volts, 13 amps, 400 watt max. And these are direct inputs, add-on battery power 700 watt max. Dimensions. It's a R290 refrigerant. Okay, here's one of the things I wanted to share, and that is the cooling area. Now it says 107.6 square feet, and the trailer, without everything we've put in here, and it wasn't exactly that even, it's rated as a, so these are outside dimensions, 8 foot by 16 foot trailer. So that would be a maximum of 128 cubic feet. Well, like I said, we're actually not that. So we're not far off from what the thing is rated for. That's why we decided to go this route. We thought that they'd be a good match, and we're going to see. Cooling capacity, 1,500 watts, 5,100 BTU. Heating capacity, which is what we're dealing with today, 1800 watts, 6100 BTU. It gives you ambient temperature for storage, charge temperature, all that. Temperature setting range, basically 60 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, at 16 C to 30 C. Operating temperature, blah blah blah. Let's say rated heating input power, 600 watts AC, 540 watts DC. Rated cooling input power, 500 watts in or AC and 495 DC. So you can see you know, that was the thing, you know, there's lots of different ways to go, and this just seemed to be the most economical. Now this will run on the attached battery for 8 hours on the eco mode, and according to their literature. So, you know, we'll test all that in the real world environment. Now this trailer, like I said, everything in here was nice and cold. There's a lot of stuff in here, so we have a lot of mass to heat up. That's affecting, you know, how fast this thing's going to heat up the trailer. It's not just heating up the air, it's heating up all this mass that is keeping the air cool. So we'll see. We'll cut back in a little bit. I don't think I mentioned, but the size of the add-on battery is 1159 watt hours. And like I said, if you're just using that on the eco mode, they say 8 hours. And I don't remember if that was heating or cooling. I think it was cooling, 8 hours. But you know, that really isn't a big issue with me. This is just extra battery because we have, you know, including this, we've got over 16.5 kilowatt hours of onboard storage on this trailer. So I can charge that battery, you know, many times over. But it's nice to just have it run alone. It's got a sleep mode and, like I said, eco mode and all sorts of settings that I'm not going into. I'm kind of a simple guy. I use things, you know, pretty much all or none. So, you know, if I'm running it at night and we want it to stay cool, I'll have it on the eco mode so it's nice and quiet and so forth. And of course that would be depending on the temperature, but most likely be running on the eco mode if you're running it overnight. And then the next day I can charge it using, you know, one of my 3 battery packs, which would be being charged if it's a hot and so forth. It's probably going to be sunny out. We're using the air conditioning, then boom, we'll be charging things with solar. So we're hoping that'll work well. And like I said, this summer we'll do the air conditioning test and let you know how that goes. But today we're working on the heat, and we're finally where we're a degree warmer inside than outside according to my weather station. While I'm waiting for this thing to heat things up and do our test on the EcoFlow Wave 2 heat, I'm going to do some work on my computer. So I'm going to set up this. Now I can sit at the bench over here, but like I mentioned in an earlier video, these things came, these cushions came vacuum packaged and were scrunched down to nothing, and you're supposed to put those in the sun and let them heat up. And unfortunately we haven't had any sun lately, and it's been cold, so haven't had the opportunity for those to heat up. So I'm just going to sit here like yay and work on my laptop. Now I could also swing this around because this table fits both directions. I could put it like this. I'll put my carcass right there, but I'm going to be really toasty warm. Anyway, I'm also going to block the heat, so I'm not going to do it that way. I'll swing it around the other way. But yeah, I got to do something while I'm waiting on this thing. This is our 1 hour update. So I've had the EcoFlow Wave 2 on for an hour, and currently the outside temperature, according to the weather station, is 49 degrees, and we're 54 up against the front of the trailer. According to the EcoFlow Wave 2, it says the ambient temperature excuse me, it says the ambient temperature is 61.3 degrees. So no, we're making progress, but we haven't come as far as I was hoping at this point in time. So like I said, our goal is to get it up to 65, and then that's going to be, you know, a benchmark for me, and then from there to 68 or 70 degrees, which is, you know, short sleeve comfortable. At 54, I'm still bundled up, although I'm comfortable. You know, it's blowing on me, and I'm nice and comfortable actually. And it says that the outlet temperature, air outlet temperature, is 94.6 degrees. So, yeah, sitting here working, I'm nice and comfortable. But you wouldn't be, you know, stripping down at this point. I'm still going to stay bundled up. So, we'll continue on, and I'll come back with another update. We're about an hour and a half in, and you can see still 49 on the outside wall of the trailer, and it's 57 inside. Okay, so like I say, we're a little over an hour and a half in, and this thing just, I don't know, it just like it just shut off for a minute, and it's making noises now, and I don't know what's going on. No air's blowing out, nothing's coming in or exhausting in or out the vent system. So anyway, I'd moved the camera back here because I was going to discuss something else before this. And I don't know if condenser's freezing up or something. I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. Like I said, I just checked the outside temperature, and it's 45 degrees. Like I said, the one on the side of the trailer, I don't trust because it's mounted on the side of the trailer. In the bathroom, we're showing 57 degrees inside, and the EcoFlow Wave 2 showed quite a drop in the ambient air temperature, so I don't know what's going on there. It's coming back up. The air outlet temperature is coming back up, so evidently it's kicking back on. It may have cycled off to kind of defrost itself or something. Not familiar with this unit. We've tested it in the office when we first received it to make sure it was working. It seemed to work fine, but I don't have any history or experience with this. So this is our first time to see how it worked in the trailer. I gotta say, you know, I'm not overly impressed. An hour and a half, and we're only up to 57 degrees. But, you know, that's the other end of the trailer. I understand that's in the nose of the trailer, up against the wall, front wall of the trailer, a good 14 feet or so away. But a couple things I've observed. We're starting to blow a little bit of air again. Looks like she's cycling back on. But one of the things I've noticed, oops, is, you know, of course the exhaust is very cold, but it's also kind of leaking around these fittings here. So where it fits against the, you know, this attachment here, which is got moisture on it. So yeah, I think it cycled off because the coils in there were getting iced up, and I had to let them thaw. But anyway, I thought from the beginning I would probably end up, well, there's moisture forming on the outside of this. I don't know if it shows up on the camera. I'd probably have to zoom in more. But there's a little bit of moisture on that, you know, condensation, which, you know, cold air going through a plastic tube and warmer air in here, you know, so that's just, it's natural. But anyway, what I was getting at is I think that I would insulate these tubes and tape around, you know, the unit itself and the vent system to cut down on escaping air and to cut down on this condensation, that kind of thing. And I think that escaping air is not helping things. And like I said, plus the trailer's been sitting here, so all of this is, you know, cold. So it's not like we just came in here and the air was cold and we're trying to warm things up. No, it's everything's been this way all winter long, nice and cold in here. So we've got all of this thermal mass to overcome. And I zoomed all that out. Anyway, so that's the status report. We're looking at an hour and 42 minutes. EcoFlo Wave 2 is again blowing hot air. We're back up to 86.6 degrees Fahrenheit blowing out. And the ambient air temperature, it's coming up gradually, just keeps incrementing up. So it's going to be more accurate, I think. It may have reversed itself to heat up those coils and cause them to defrost. But anyway, seems to be working fine now. Just went through some kind of routine, which I'm going to assume is normal at this point. But you know, you're sitting here and all of a sudden it goes click. You're like, what? So anyway, I think we're back in the game. But like I said, I'm kind of disappointed in the time it's taking to heat this up. On one hand, I kind of am not surprised, but like I said, on the other hand, I'm kind of disappointed. But the reality is, you know, we looked at the BTU ratings and so forth. So yeah, it's going to be best at maintaining, and of course, it always takes a lot less energy to maintain something than it does to, you know, either warm it up or cool it down. So we'll see how it does. You know, if this had been, you know, a day where the outside temperature had been a certain thing and then overnight, you know, it dropped, we could have set this thermostatically to come on at a certain temperature, and I think it would have maintained that just fine. But we'll continue with our investigation here of how this thing performs, and I'll be back. Well, I've got somewhere to be, so I'm going to cut this test short. You can see we're almost at 3.5 hours, and we're still not to 65 degrees. We're at 63. Now, I have been in and out the door multiple times, so that hasn't helped in any way at all. It's actually starting to feel warm in here in the main portion of the trailer, but up against the front wall there, it's obviously 63 degrees. One of the things that I discovered, well, hang on, let me swing the camera around. It just quit making that noise. I was thinking about this thing, you know, shutting off. Like I said, I think it was kind of doing its defrost thing, and sure enough, I went outside and looked, and that little squeaky noise I hear, that's a pump, and it's actually draining a little, you know, condensation sump or reservoir, whatever it has. And so yeah, I got a pretty good sized puddle underneath my trailer. Anyway, yeah, now it's kicking back on. You can hear there's a change, and it'll start, yeah, the fan starts picking up and it'll start cranking out some heat. Okay, so let's take a look at the results from our test of EcoFlow Wave 2 in heating our 8x16 foot cargo trailer. A reminder that the trailer is insulated. We have 1 inch, and it's the what do they call it? Solid core foam insulation, whatever. If you look at our earlier videos, you'll see what we used. Anyway, we have 1 inch in the floor and the walls, and 1.5 inches on the back wall and the ceiling. And so the measurement was taken, the EcoFlow Wave 2 is at the very back of the trailer, just a foot from the wall. And then the measurements we took were at the end of the V-nose in the bathroom. And so it's far away from the heat sources we could get. And so this is the results that we came up with. And so we started at noon, and the temperature in the warehouse was 44 degrees, and the temperature inside the trailer was 48 degrees, and the humidity was the same in both. So anyway, about 1.5 hours later, temperature in the warehouse is still the same. We had raised the temperature inside the trailer 9 degrees. Humidity had dropped inside and out, but most notably inside the trailer. And then we talked about the fact that I was going in and out of the trailer a lot of times. I had other things going on besides this test, and I was doing stuff on the computer, then I'd go outside in the warehouse, and so I really went in and out the door a lot of times, which wasn't in the EcoFlow Wave 2's favor. But what we got after, you know, almost 3.5 hours was the temperature in the warehouse had gone up 1 degree, but we had raised the temperature in the nose of the trailer to 63 degrees. Humidity had dropped both outside and inside down to 58%, and we had a 15-degree increase in the inside temperature. And you know, it was interesting, you know, the thing was shut down. I think it did it 2 times, maybe 3 times that the unit shut down, and for lack of the proper term, I guess, I'm just going to say it defrosted itself and pumped water out, you know, got rid of the condensation that was in its tray or sump or whatever it has. I don't know. But anyway, it would stop, and then you'd hear this little squealing noise, and that's the pump, and it would be pumping out the condensation, and I have it draining underneath the trailer back there. And so all that was working, that was good. But so it's not like the heater, you know, electric resistive heat that's basically on, except for when it gets, you know, to your thermostatic setting and then shuts off. This thing did cycle 2 or 3 times in the test period. And the on and off time, maybe it's off a total of 5 minutes or a little more the time it gets back up to full temperature. Maybe it's about 10 minutes. But anyway, that's the way the thing operates. That seemed to be, you know, like I said, I don't know much about the thing as far as its internal workings, but I'm kind of figuring that out as we go ahead, and that seemed to be normal. And I'm glad that it purges itself, and we don't have to worry about condensation pooling in the trailer or anything. So because I had someplace to be, basically called it at you know, 3.5 hours, and as I was taking my laptop out of the trailer and the camera and doing a few other things, I moved the little weather station that I used, and I moved it to its normal position, which is basically a little more central in the trailer. It sits on the counter next to the microwave. And so I moved it there, and it sat there for, oh, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. And I just happened to glance at it as I was getting ready to exit the trailer for the last time. And that was at 3:39, so just, you know, 3 hours and 39 minutes into this test. The temperature in the warehouse had gone up 1 degree. And like I said, in the center of the trailer, we were up to 65 degrees, which was my minimum target. I actually wanted to run it a little bit longer, but I ran out of time to get it up to 68 or 70 degrees. And I think at the rate that it was going at would have probably been, you know, around 4 o'clock. That's my opinion. You can see the humidity come down, you know, a ways since the start. And we had a 17-degree increase in temperature. I think this thing's going to work fine for us. Our main objective is to follow 70 degrees, so we're not looking to go places that are real hot or real cold. We'll probably be more hot places than cold places, just based on what we've done in the past. We like the western U.S. And the other is, you know, when we have used a heater in the past in our trailers, it's just typically in the morning for, you know, an hour or two. And if you have the thermostat set on this thing and say it's going to dip down kind of cold at night, you set the thermostat at 65 in this thing, keep it at 65 in the trailer. It will use a lot less energy to maintain temperature than it does to try to increase the temperature. So, you know, I wish it performed better, but, you know, that's not realistic because, you know, it is a kind of an energy sipping device. It's not taking a lot of energy, and of course it's not putting out a lot of BTUs. So all things considered, I was happy with the performance and the way the thing worked. It's not very noisy. It's nice and quiet. It, you know, pumps the condensation outside the trailer. You can set, you know, a sleep mode. You can, you know, it's got a, you know, thermostat, all that. So it's a nice unit, and I'm anxious to see how it does on the air conditioning side of things, since that's what we will probably use the most, because we like it to be cool at night when we sleep. So that's when the air conditioning would be used the most, is, you know, in the evening before you go to bed, and and to maintain a nice cool temperature while you're sleeping. So we'll bring you the air conditioning test at a later time. I thank you for watching and hope I didn't bore you too much, and hopefully you got some insights regarding the capability and operation of the EcoFlow Wave 2's heating aspects. Anyway, hope you liked and subscribe, and hope to see you next time.